Hi, my name is Kadri, and here is my dear colleague Edmundas. We both work as senior analysts at Nortal. As Nortal is a multinational company with more than 600 employees and not operating only in Europe but also in Middle East, Africa, the States. We often get the questions like, what are you doing in these different locations? How is it really to work and live abroad?
So, just to introduce ourselves, so myself, I have over the last 5 years worked in 4 different countries. And my colleague Kadri has just recently moved from her comfortable job in Estonia to Botswana together with her family. So together we went over those common questions and we tried to formally answer them so that you would have an insight of what does it actually mean to work in Middle East or Africa.
Nortal has operated in Middle East for approximately 10 years. In Africa, I believe, also close to 10 years.
Awesome.
Why these countries? Well, these countries are relatively new, which means that their societies are open for change. I believe it's even correct to say that they are really innovation hungry. And as they do not have a lot of legacy, both in terms of laws, regulations and IT systems, they are looking for top of the world solutions. And they are willing to transform their societies and use ICT for this. And for us, it means that we have great opportunities to provide both strategic advice, expertise and change management, not only do fine-tuning and IT.
So over the past several years, Nortal has implemented multiple high-impact solutions in the region of Middle East and Africa. Some of you might have heard of. For example, the integrated financial management system for the government of Nigeria, which helped Nigerians to save multiple millions of US dollars per year by reducing the inefficiencies in the federal government. Or, for example, Invest Easy project in the Sultanate of Oman that has propelled Oman close to 130 places in the World Bank ranking of starting business, and has reduced the gap, the time it would take to register business in Oman from several days to under 2 minutes. So, for example, currently I am involved in the project working together with the Ministry of Finance in the Sultanate of Oman in the introduction of VAT and excise taxation that would help government of Oman to reduce its budget deficit. And my colleague Kadri is working together with the Unified Revenue Service of Botswana in overhauling the taxation system there and reducing the tax gap.
Indeed, in Botswana, our main aim is to make the local tax administration more efficient, more transparent, and save the public money. I'd say it's mostly about delivering meaningful impact and gaining some new experience. So as we've spoken about that in these countries, what we really do, we are building policies and systems from scratch. Basically, it means that for each solution, we first do some research, we look for best practices, and then we are the ones who create the solution for the customer.
Actually, I totally agree with that, and I would like to add that indeed the type of work that we actually do usually in Europe is much more constrained than the type of work we do outside of the Europe, such as Middle East or Africa. So, for example, when usually European customers come to us actually knowing the solution that they actually would like to receive, African or Middle East clients, they come to us with a problem that they want us to solve. And what it actually means is that we are the ones responsible for developing the overall solution that would again address the problem. And Of course, that means that we have much more freedom, professional freedom, and in fact, how we actually address the issue. And in addition, of course, it also means that we have much more responsibility because the cost of mistakes is so much higher. I would say it is not very common to work in multiple different countries, but it's also not very uncommon. So for example, myself, over the past 5 years, I have worked in 4 different countries. So in fact, the reasons that, let's say, it's not that common is more based on the personality of our people rather than the nature of business that we do.
Yes, I agree. It's quite often personal reasons that keep our specialists back. In fact, when I was first offered the opportunity to go and work in Botswana, I said, no, definitely no. I have a family, I'm living in Estonia. But my good colleague who offered me this opportunity, I believe he actually understood that I have this ambition and interest in working abroad. And he helped me to find the necessary solution for myself and my family.
Exactly. So I would say, in summary, moving abroad does not mean cutting all ties with your locally based family or friends that might remain in Lithuania or Estonia or any other country. It's more of a professional challenge, and Nortal as a company, well, I think we do everything in our power to make this transition as easy as possible, so the people are not impacted negatively by moving abroad.
It's a change, of course, but I'd also say it's an opportunity for learning. In Botswana, for example, I have encountered first time in my life consensus culture, meaning that people at business meetings respectfully listen to each other, they never interrupt, and they are really looking for consensus when discussing some subjects. And for me as an analyst, it was a challenge at the beginning to really achieve the goal of the meeting and get the agreement.
I would say I would even add that after a while you would not even notice this sort of a change in the culture across different countries. And while of course behaviors and cultures are different, let's say how business is conducted is different, the punctuality is different, still people they are driven more or less by the same basic human values that are universal across different cultures. So my advice actually would be that when conducting business abroad, just keep an open mind and be respectful.
Well, in the new context, the learning curve is really sharp, I'd say, and you constantly learn new tips and tricks because you have to adjust to the situation. I'd also say that one of the biggest learning points for me has been how to really build something from scratch and how to provide also expertise, not only IT solution.
For me, I would say it is even hard to define a single biggest learning point there. For sure, learning is a very common thing when you are constantly out of your comfort zone. And believe me, in projects abroad, especially in Africa or Middle East, most of the time you are out of your comfort zone. So the learning is constant, and I would say in cases it's even more so that you learn faster personally than professionally. So let's say if I had to define something, I would say that myself personally, let's say one of the hardest learning points was to be able to understand and accept different viewpoints to the same problem that might not actually compete between each other, but indeed supplement each other and work together in working out some sort of a solution to the problem that we have been trying to solve.